Welcome to Rack of the Week 180. This week, the theme is Fight for the Angle. We'll get to that in just a second. You know the drill. Go to shortstoponpool.com for all my stuff. This is the new branded Shortstop on Pool shirt. This is the jersey. There's also t-shirts and pullovers. So you can get to those from my website. Go to Geeks Outfit for nerd t-shirts. The Bridgemate product for shooting over balls is called the Bridgemate Plus. Is now out. I sold out immediately. Thank you very much. The orders that are in right now will be shipping Monday. I have another shipment coming in on Friday. So go ahead and place your orders or they'll get shipped out on Friday. And I'm going to be doing a demonstration video of that this week. Let's get into the Rack of the Week. I'm going to get off the screen and show you the table view from the live stream that this was recorded from. You got the overhead on the right and the angled view on the left. So this break shot is a little bit different than I'll often shoot. It's farther from the rack, so I'm not trying to go 2 rails out of the corner. When the object ball's that far, you saw the right English on that. I'm just trying to go to the rail with right English and come back up into the stack. And so that worked out pretty well, except for one thing, and that's the motivation for this Rack of the Week. Look at this 2-ball. It's right on the rail, just by the side pocket. That's the hardest place on the table for an object ball. Now, obviously, you can play position for this 2-ball up in this corner pocket somehow, but no one wants to shoot that ball past 2 pocket points when it's frozen on the rail here. I would prefer to nudge it, to bump this ball off the rail. Now, typically when this happens, and this happens a lot in the game of 8-ball, you're looking for a ball in the center of the table or somewhere that you can cut off from, carom off from the 2-ball into the pocket. But I don't have this. So what's your second option? I need a cut shot that I can bump this ball. And you can go at it from a lot of angles. Like, for example, you could get an angle on this one and try and go this way. But that's a terrible way to go. You're most likely just going to scratch, even if you can get it off the rail. Just as an example, what you really want is a cut shot over here into this corner pocket, and you want to get this angle so that you can run into the 2-ball. And it'd be really nice if you have an insurance ball when you do that. So that's what I'm looking for. Right now, I have 2 shots. I can shoot the 5-ball or this 14. And I'm actually choosing to shoot this 14 ball because I think maybe I can draw the cue ball into the 2-ball right now. And that's not a bad attempt, but no, it didn't get it. Okay. So what am I going to do now? I need to create an angle on a ball into this corner pocket. The 9-ball's in the way, and I don't have a shot on it right now. The 5-ball is my only other shot. The 5-ball doesn't lead to anything, so I'm going to shoot the 6. I've got room to shoot it past the 9. There, I looked at it. And I'm just going to run into these balls gently. That's going to open up this cluster, and then maybe I'll get an opportunity to create that shot that I'm talking about. Usually at this point in the rack, you're looking at break balls. Like the 5 and the 7 are really good break balls, and you're trying to open these up while preserving those break balls. But I need to deal with that too. So that's what I'm thinking about. So let's get the cue ball under control, just making that 6. Now I have a couple of shots. Yeah, I don't have a couple of shots. Really, I've got to shoot this one. But I'm looking at getting it. I've got to get rid of this 9-ball, but I don't have a way to do it right now. These balls are tied up, so I'm going to go ahead and run into those. Just kind of trying to improve the lie of the balls. Obviously, I've got several shots now, 13, 5, and the 4. But so now what I've done is I've created 3 balls that. One of those I can use, and I'm talking about it on the live stream. You see me pointing with my cue that I can bump that 2-ball. But the 9's in the way. So the obvious choice here is to shoot this 13, just roll forward and get a shot on the 9. I need to clear the blocker ball, the 9-ball. Piece of cake. Now, you could have tried to carom that 13 off from the 2 right there, but that's a hard angle, and if you hit too much of the 2, you miss the 13, so I didn't do that. This shot here, I'm just rolling with inside English, right English, check English to try and hit that 10 and get an angle on one of these balls. So I didn't do that, but things are looking up. I don't want to shoot this 15 hard because I'm going to disturb these balls, and I'm trying to preserve one of those shots. I do have a shot on this ball, but I can't control the cue ball very well. I'm either going to hit the 5 or come over here and crash into these. That's not going to be any good. So I'm looking for an option. I'm fighting for the angle. I'm trying to get that angle on that 2-ball. And I finally realized that I can shoot the 15 soft enough that I should be able to preserve these balls, which I did. I still have a shot on one of those into this left corner pocket, and then I can use the 10 or the 8 in order to gain position on that. So now I've got it. And I still need to fight for the angle, though. So I can use the 2-ball to get the angle that I'm looking for. I'm sorry, I can use the 8-ball. And, it can be tempting here also to shoot the 8-ball and draw the cue ball into the 2 right now. I don't like that at all. I'm likely to get stuck on the rail and have a difficult follow-up shot on one of these balls. I'm also very likely to double kiss the 2-ball and achieve nothing, or scratch, or miss the 2-ball and come up here, and I can't pocket it because it's right on the point. I'm gonna scratch if I try to shoot the 2-ball down in this pocket. So this is that's a bad choice. I have 3 options on this 8-ball in order to get the angle I want. So I'm looking for an angle on this 11-ball like this to go into there. Option number 1, draw the cue ball smartly to the rail and back out. Okay, that's a possibility. Option number 2, go straight up table and back down. Might be thinking about wanting a little bit of right English to make sure that I don't come straight down this way and not get my angle. I want to get the cue ball over here so I get that angle. Option number 3, cut the 8-ball up in this corner pocket and just let the cue ball go to the rail and over. And that's the correct choice. In both of these other choices, I'm having to stroke the ball harder and possibly put some spin on it. My mind is on more than one thing because if I'm trying to draw the cue ball over here, then I'm thinking about, I want to make sure I get enough draw so I don't hit the 2, but also so that I get the cue ball to come straight back across at the right angle and come far enough. You're worried that you're going to overstroke it and come way over here, or maybe even scratch. If you go up table, when you're concerned about hitting it hard enough, getting that speed control, up table and back down, getting that correct enough to have a good angle on this 11 can be difficult. Do I need to put some inside English? Do I not want to put any inside English? So you have more things on your mind. But when you're shooting this 8-ball in the corner, you don't. You only have one thing on your mind. Pocket the 8-ball, because the cue ball is naturally, with a center ball, you don't want to hit high, is naturally going to go here and out, and I'm going to have the angle I want. Let me see, I think I've got a straight line tool in my toolbox here. Yeah. Here's let me do it on the overhead camera, actually. Here's the shot line on the overhead camera to the 11 ball, okay? So if I'm cutting this 8-ball and letting the cue ball go to the rail, I've got a margin of error from here over to here. And I don't have to exert a lot of effort in order to do it. So I'm fighting for the angle. That's the theme of this week. And so that's why I choose the 8-ball in the corner. By the way, I first heard the phrase fight for the angle a long time ago from a really good coach in Denver in relation to playing 9-ball and 10-ball, of course, rotation games. The best rotation players fight for the angle. And that's what we always talk about, walking around the table, checking your angle to the next shot. In rotation games, it's always get an angle for an angle for an angle for the next 3 balls that you're shooting. And the best players are the ones who fight for that angle, even when it looks like a simple layout and everybody knows exactly what you're going to do. You'll see those top players walk around the table and look. They're making sure they're fighting for the angle. That's a good theme to keep in your mind. And that's what I'm doing here. This whole rack, I've been fighting for the angle to get on this shot. It's a positive attitude that's forward looking and keeps you in the right frame of mind to get through a difficult situation, rather than operating from a mode of fear or doubt, which we're going to see in a minute. So let's shoot this 8-ball. All you got to do here is focus on center pocket on the 8-ball, and you're rolling it. You don't have to fire it in. That makes the pocket a little bit bigger too. And, oh, look, I got the angle I need. Lo and behold, because I was fighting for the angle. Now, I'm not too worried about a key ball. I'm going to have a shot on one of these 4 balls down table after I pocket the 11 and bump the 2, which does happen successfully. This is a really great result, and the reason why is the 2-ball, I have an easy shot on the 2-ball. Now, when you look at the table, we're in the end pattern. This is the end pattern. And I think the best route here is I have 2 break balls, the 5 and the 7. So I have an obvious key ball right here, and I have an obvious K2 ball. You always look directly across the table in the 1. And it can be a little bit unusual for your key ball and your K2 to be up table, but look at the layout. It's perfectly suited for that. I think, in my opinion, looking at this now, it's probably the best pattern to shoot the 4. What I had in my mind right now is to shoot the 4 and draw back to get a shot on the 5 or the 10. Then you can maneuver these 2 balls and get an angle on the 1, and you're on your 2 ball and you're on your break shot. I think that's the best pattern. And what threw me off, I didn't take enough time to think about this. I chose not to shoot this 4 from fear, because as you know, if it's a longer shot and you got to draw the cue ball back, it's easy to bobble the ball. You can hit this point and miss it. It's easy to get too much draw and pull the cue ball all the way back to where it is now. We don't want that. You have a long distance and you're trying to do a finesse draw and just draw the cue ball back here. It's because of that reason, I'm coming at it from a point of fear, that I decided to not shoot the 4, which I think is the correct shot, and I shoot the 2. I've just been working my butt off, fighting for the angle. I got that 2 ball off the rail. I feel really good. But now I want to shoot something easy. I don't want to keep having to fight, and that's the wrong way to look at it. The other thing I didn't realize is this: I don't need to draw the ball back. I can play a stop shot on the 4 ball, and I have the 5 in the side. And if the cue ball drifts forward just a little bit, I'll have the 10 in the side. And then it's easy to maneuver these 2 balls and get on the key ball. So I think that's my mistake in this rack, not taking the time to really think that through. I really defaulted to the 2 ball because it's an easy shot. What I decided was I'm going to eliminate these 2 upper balls, and then I can shoot these 4. There's nothing wrong with that either, because these four balls on the bottom are wide open. I got 2 break shots. I'm a pool player. I'm going to manipulate the cue ball, and I'm going to get on my break shot. So I don't think that's a bad decision either. You tell me in the comments whether you think a stop shot on the 4 is the right shot or shooting the 2 is the right shot. It's a close call, I think. So what I want to do is shoot the 2 ball, draw back over here, and shoot the 1, and then I'll figure out an end pattern on the last 4 balls. Let's take a look at what happens. Remember, I've switched from a positive attitude of fighting for the angle to a negative attitude of I don't want to make a mistake. That's the wrong way to run. That's the wrong way to shoot. So I'm choosing the 2 ball because it's an easier shot, and I feel like I'm not going to make a mistake. I never walked around to this end of the table to look at the 1 ball and see where I wanted to get. For that reason, I didn't come far enough. I have too much angle on the 1. But I'm still, now look how close I am to the 5 ball. There's nothing wrong with shooting the 5 ball, maybe draw up here and shoot the 1, and then make your end pattern with these balls. Or just giving up on the 5 balls, the break shot. You can shoot the 5, use the 4 to get on the 10, to get on the 1, and then come across table, and there's your break shot on the 7. There's lots of ways to run out here. The way you're going to have success is by not coming from a place of fear, which is the place I'm in at right now, and that's why I messed up. You've got to maintain that fight for the angle, positive attitude. So I decided to shoot the 1 because that was my plan, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to eliminate the upper balls, and I shoot a little soft spin shot to hold the cue ball. Because of that, I'm a long distance from my object ball, and I'm operating from a place of fear. And when you do that, what happens? That's what happens. You don't shoot with confidence. And because of that, I was just hoping to make this 4 ball, and I ended up undercutting it and hitting the point and missing the shot. I got great position. Look how close I am to this 5 ball, but it doesn't matter. Now, I'll make a little point. I also remember I mentioned years ago, I talk about that a lot. The cloth on the table was slower. Years ago, that 4 ball that I just missed, you could hit it a lot harder and keep the cue, bring the cue ball back to center table with no fear of overrunning your position and having the cue ball end up way up here. So, I know a lot of you newer people to pool don't understand this, but so much of modern pool today, the technique of the pool players has to do with slowing down the cue ball. We're shooting at the bottom of the cue ball way more often than we used to, and we're shooting with shorter bridges and a more compact stroke to slow the cue ball down so it doesn't run out of control. We talk about keeping control of the cue ball, and that means several different things, but in the context I'm talking about now, it's dealing with a cloth that's too fast. And the cue ball just runs away with you, on you if you're not careful. And that's why there's so much of this technique. I talk about shooting low on the cue ball always slows the cue ball down, and then a more compact stroke. And when you're shooting from a distance, that's what you need to have. So there's nothing wrong with that 4-ball shot that I had, nothing at all. A lot of you might be thinking, well, why didn't you shoot the 5-ball? You're right on the 5. Well, because then I've got an angle on the 1, and how do I get on the 10-ball next? Shooting the 4-ball from here, you come back out center table, and you have a shot on all 3 balls, and then you can develop a key ball and get on a break shot. And, of course, the second time you set it up, you make the shot every time, right? And so now I have a perfect angle, and now I go look at the angle. I have a perfect angle on this 5, just go to the rail, and I've got a shallow angle on the 10, and then come across here. But I've already screwed up a couple of times, and I'm still in a mindset of fear, and so what happens? I understroke the ball. And now I have way too much angle on the 10. So I mentioned fighting for the angle, and we had to fight for an angle to get that 2-ball, but it's a mindset that you need to have all the time. Just like when you play 9-ball and 10-ball. You're always fighting to get that cue ball to the right location. Now I've got to come 3 rails around, try and come tight out of that corner, and hope that I get an angle on the 7-ball, which is really tough to do from there. I got a little bit of an angle. Take a look at the overhead camera. Here's the shot line for this 7-ball. Okay, so I've got an angle, but it's when you're down over the ball, it's slighter than it looks. This is a shot you've got to own, though. It's inside English, low inside, right inside. I'm trying to cheat the pocket to the inside, to this side of the pocket. I'll go to this side of the pocket, and then right English and stun the cue ball into the corner ball. You're not going to open the rack. What we're hoping for, and watch. Let me shoot it first. I missed the rack, just barely. What we're hoping for there is if you can clip this corner ball, the corner ball caroms off the 9 and goes to the bottom rail. You're hoping that this ball either goes to the bottom rail and bounces up, or just comes right to here, and then the cue ball is going to carom to the rail over here, and then you have a cut shot into this corner pocket, an immediate re-break shot into the rack. That's your best hope with that particular break shot. I didn't get on that break shot correctly because my mindset switched to a mindset of fear instead of fighting for the angle. So I hope that's a interesting lesson for you guys, and you got something out of that rack of the week. Let me know in the comment section what your end pattern would have been after I knocked the 2-ball off the rail. How would you have approached those final balls? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and remember, if you're going to play pool, play it straight. See you next week on Rack of the Week. Bye.